New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. According to court documents, both suspects were arrested as of Wednesday and charged with aggravated manslaughter of a minor after the 2-year-old little girl passed from a fent OD. Prosecutors state that the 2-year-old girl passed on June 13th. Deputies and paramedics were called to the family's home and they were unable to revive her. The couple from Florida, Joseph Turney and Jalen Davis, allegedly told investigators that the 2-year-old girl, Maya Turney, had been asleep on the bed, according to a statement from the sheriff's office. Later, both defendants stated that they had left the 2-year-old girl alone in the bed for about 30 minutes, and when they later returned, they found her unresponsive and then called 911. An autopsy determined that the 2-year-old child passed from a fent toxicity. Her stomach tested positive for the narcotic as well. Prosecutors have stated that both of her parents are involved in the drug trade. Investigation reveals that her mother sold and her father is an active user. Prosecutors state that the victim's mother is currently in custody on separate charges. Court records show that Davis has been charged with murder in connection with another fent-related case back in June, around 2 weeks before the passing of her daughter. And at the time Turney's arrest, the father, 36-year-old man, was already in jail for a previous assault and witness tampering charges. This incident remains under investigation. Also, I just want to put out ahead of time before I get to my, the rest of, what I'm saying. Hopefully, you guys are able to comment and they didn't take down the comment section, because usually on videos like this, whenever I happen to show the image of the children affected, YouTube likes to play with the comment section and they like to cut off things, every single time, and I'm forced to basically try to cut it back on several times in order for it to actually stick. So if that does transpire and take place, my apologies, and I guess I'll try to turn the comment section back on for you guys. Like I normally state, kids don't ask to be here, right? Two adults, consenting adults, decide that, hey, we're either going to drink, we're going to do some narcotics, or we're just going to do some irresponsible things, such as committing to something unprotected and knowing the fact that we don't really like each other, and whatever. And or they decide that they're living their worst life and they're like, hey, let's sit up there and do something crazy and have unprotected interest, and create a child that we really can't take care of because we're both addicts and we're both messed up, right? So this is basically what took place here. And the most interesting thing about this story is that this is something that is commonplace in America when it deals with the global minority, who is the majority on the face of the North American continent. This is a everyday story where you hear of kids dealing with parents or having to be in a household where this is what their parents do. It's either some type of narcotic usage, it's either something domestic, it's either alcohol, or a mixture of every single thing, or a mixture of the two. That's basically what you have here. And this is something that America does not like to put a spotlight on. This is something that they don't specifically like to talk about. They don't want to bring up, because it puts a bad eye. It puts a bad version of them right directly out there. They don't want to be seen as drug users. They don't want to be seen as, people that really can't get right. They don't want to be seen as, in a sense, the criminals and the villains. They pretty much save that narrative in that story for Black people. So look at the little face of this little girl. How many of the true Americans out there do you see posting videos about her? How many videos do you see of them advocating for her and children like her? How many of them do you see actually going to the GoFundMe to, I guess, pay for funeral, costs for the family, or what have you, that they have up there on the GoFundMe? You don't really see a lot. Mom is pretty much the word. You can pretty much hear a pin drop. But like I said before, if this story had to do with a Black man, right? And he was the one that ended up selling, and then the child ended up ingesting, by way of the parents. They would have blamed the black man for the reason that that child is basically gone. And they would also blame the black man for the reason that the parents are being enabled for their usage, right? That's how they pretty much would have tried to pin the story, especially if they would have had a mugshot of the black guy, right? But notice how they're not talking about the person who is potentially dealing. Right, of course, we know that the mother is involved. We know that the father is using, but everybody has a plug, everybody has a link, everybody has a hookup that they can go to get more of these things, to get more of these items, or what have you. Right? There's always a larger distributor who is amongst that community, who is in that community. Right? Or better yet, the mother could also be a plug, right? Which means that not only is she more than likely dibbling and dabbling in making, but she's also giving this out to the very same community or people outside of the community in order to make a profit. How come they aren't talking about bringing up charges to those individuals, trying to figure out who is it that she's linked to and who is it that she's had contact with and all of these other things? Because if it would have ended up being somebody black, oh, they would have blew this story all out of proportion. They would have had, the guy's family directly up here, and his family had nothing to do with it. But yet, you don't see the picture of the two parents, or at least from the story that I read, you didn't see the picture of the two parents. All you heard is a description, and all you see is a picture of the child. Ain't that something? Like I said, people got to pay attention to the narrative and how it is that the media decides to put out a lot of these stories. A lot of the times, if you want to find the images of the people who are a part of these stories, you have to do a lot of digging in order to find it. A lot of times when you put out stories like this, if they just so happen to put this out on mainstream media, they're not going to show you what the parents look like. They're going to show you the child, and that's it. That's all that needs to be shown, right? But like I said, when it's anybody else, especially when it's black, they're going to be showing everybody. Even if you're not even connected, you could have known the dude back in 8th grade. We got to interview you to figure out why it is that he ended up this way. Like I said, they don't really care. And this is why things like this are allowed to persist and allowed to happen. And this is why these narcotics are allowed to contaminate a lot of communities, because the greater majority, the true Americans in the United States, have been brainwashed to believe that black people are the one and only true villains, criminals, and supervillains out there, that we are the ones that are corrupting their neighborhoods, their kids, their communities, and everything else that they hold dear. But realistically, if they were look in the mirror and they would just sit there for a second, they would actually see who it actually is. Or sometimes some people don't actually have a reflection, so it's a little bit hard to stare in the mirror when you're allergic to both sunlight and you don't have a reflection. So maybe in a sense, that's why they can never actually see who the true villain or the criminal is. But whatever, I digress. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.